Well, let's say my leader, the person that I'm supporting, it's not going well. And maybe there are clear signs. So it's the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial is, taking up a lot of media attention, and that's just been an absolute mess. But we're seeing those kinds of emails and interactions, and it's just really nasty and unpleasant. Where would you take, if you're an employee, what are some of your options in terms of trying to resolve that situation with your leader?
I think if everything has been tried, some of the things I said, like, is there assume positive intent and try to explore that. Try to manage it, try to figure out. I had a boss that everyone thought was like horribly toxic. And the more I really just observed as a non-involved, I tried to not involve myself, I realized that there was this insecurity. I'm like, maybe I need to recognize that and manage it. And it did reduce the toxic culture, not completely, because there was still some bullying. And honestly, there are times you just have to report it. Because if they're a bully, a narcissist, they're not necessarily going to change. And you're not supposed to work in this kind of work culture. Your employers are supposed to provide not just a safe physical environment, but a safe emotional environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you're not the only coworker that's dealing with this boss. Is there any advantage of going together to HR as a group versus individually, or does it really matter?
Oh, I think it matters. I've seen that type of boss be removed, it was because the group got together and went and reported, and depending on the organization, the ones I've been in, it wasn't reported to HR. It was reported to, they skipped a level and went above the boss. And they were successful. I saw 2 different times where that kind of bullying, narcissistic boss who was never going to change, and the history was there from all the prior companies, but they were involved in bringing in revenue. And that has always been my experience, that when there are some real bullies and real narcissists that are managing departments and divisions and companies, that they're bringing in that revenue, and that's why it's forgiven.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's overlooked, but then you look at their history, and it's much more than us just being uncomfortable. Severe harassment is going on.
Yeah. So something else that I know you're getting ready for the show that you've mentioned and talked about, but I'd love to learn more. Tell us more about proximity bias.
Yes. So before we called hybrid teams hybrid, I was on some of these teams very early in my career where it wasn't necessarily remote working at home. It was remote that I was in a completely different location than my team, than my boss. And clearly, those who are nearby, the traditional way of a team operating, have advantages, opportunities. They're around for those, hey, everyone, I just got out of a big meeting. Let me tell you what happened. And the one who's remote will get that email later on in the day going, oh, Leslie, this morning we talked about this, this, and this. Just want to let you know. Well, that's a real disconnect, because I'm just getting like that little summary versus being there for the energy, the excitement. Hey, what does this mean for us? And that's where the bias comes in, that you're not nearby. So whether you're the manager or the team member, it takes a lot of extra being proactive, intention. If you're the manager, I think you have to think of the remote people first, because you have to overcome that distance, that they're not there for those informal chats, those informal conversations that we don't schedule. All that passing by each other, You meet up at the elevator. I mean, some of my best creative conversations and innovations came from like those, like walking by someone's desk going, oh, I just heard you talking to someone. I didn't know you were working on such and such. Do you know I'm working on that? Like our departments kind of intersect. Maybe we should collaborate. That's harder to come by when you're remote because you miss out on all that informal brainstorming.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me.